Eric Robert, it's Laura. I just wanted to tell you that I love you and that I'm here for you. And if I can offer anything that you offered me and just an ear or a shoulder, no judgments, all love. We're in this together. I hope you know that. I'm sending you all my love and prayers, and I hope that you're safe. Okay.
Hi, Eric. It's Jennifer. Your mother asked me to call you, and I've been thinking about you anyway. And I hope you're okay. I wanted to share with you, too, as well, something else that, and I wasn't the greatest mother when I was using. So I have met Morgan with my family members for days, and I always had plenty of diapers and food for her, but I did leave her to get high. So, and I got clean in 1990, so April 13th, 1990, a year later still. I felt really bad about that, and I'm glad that I changed. And just text me to let me know you're okay, because I know how wicked this disease is. And I love you, and just pray to your higher power, Eric. It's the strength to reach out, do what you need to do. All right. Take care now. Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Patrick. It's Tuesday night. Just thought I'd give you a call, see what's going on. It's been a while. Just thought off chance that you might have been up. Anyway, give me a call. You can. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Eric, hey man, Kenny, just checking in and saying what's up. I got some time in between jobs, so I'd say, hey, hope you're doing well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, grandson, I don't know how I missed your call, but I'm sitting right here with my phone, so call me back. All right, bye.
Hey, babe, it's Laura. Just checking on you and seeing how you're doing. Give me a call whenever you can. Yeah, if you want to. Okay, love you. Bye.
Hey, Danny. Giving you a ring. It's about noon on Sunday. Give me a ring back if you want to chat for a bit. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey, everybody. This is Eric Robert Hunter, and welcome to The Rhetorical Sake. Well, you just heard our voicemails I received when I hit ghost on my AA meetings, and this group of people, incredible, loving group of people I met over the last year and a half. And that's what happens when you get invested with people that genuinely care about you. I am going to speak straight from the heart today. I usually kind of produce the show a lot more than this, but clearly I need to get something off my chest and recount this recent trip excursion to not Northern California, definitely not Northern, but Midway, Santa Barbara, Montecito, Carpinteria. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah. So welcome to the show. It's going to be a little bit more off the cuff today, but I want you to know that if you're looking for human connection, it's there and it's out there. And I'm not rejecting or denying human connection, but I have stepped away from the rooms of AA for my own health, and I will explain why in this episode. And also what I've learned. Kind of been on some like eat, pray, love type ish. Not a lot of eating, to be honest, which is rare. Usually it's a lot of eating and no loving. Very minuscule praying. But this trip was a lot of love, pray, and I want to say above, because now I know that there's something to all of this. And my goal, my mission, my objective is to remind you that if you're here, now that you're listening, there's something to you. There's something on you. And you got this. We're going to be all right. Welcome to the show.
Take me to your leader. Take me to your leader. Welcome to it. They weren't ready for this one. We about to get it. Yeah.
Mayday, Mayday. We are spinning out of control. Mission control, can you read me? We are flying around this thing. We are like a satellite. We are in orbit.
Like a satellite, just like a satellite.
Everything that you thought you lost, everything you thought you just wouldn't get back, it's all coming back. You just gotta persevere.
Take me to your leader, oh, take me to your leader, take me to your leader, take me.
Mayday, we have crash landed. We need help. This planet is on fire. They're killing black people in the streets. If they don't come get us, I don't think that we're gonna make it. Mission control, send in the Titans, send in the drones, send in everything you got, cause we need to come home.
1, 0, all engine running. We have a
All right. Excuse me. This is the Rhetorical Sake podcast here in the month of October 2021. That is the year, and it has been a year since my buddy Alexander Burke Miotti, he died unexpectedly, not intentionally. And some would say maybe without warning, but from what I gather and meditating, contemplating, that last direct voice-to-voice conversation I had with him, it's still, knocks me on my ass. It just how we spoke about everything. And not to say that he knew that his homegoing time was approaching, but more so grace and mercy that we were able to discuss some tough stuff, life stuff, and he was really there for me emotionally, fraternally, holding my hand in the spirit and getting me through a deep bout of depression. Um, a year ago, I was shocked. I spoke to him, and then we text all the time. I mean, nearly constantly. And it just made me feel so loved and good that someone reciprocated and responded to my messages. Never really had to close up the conversation. And then it would be like random phone calls. Not random, but I mean, there was no, I mean, he'd call me out the blue and, just chop it up with me. And he's like, okay, well, what are you going through? What's going on? And I told him, and he's like, yeah, that sounds like depression. And he just always had a way of even delivering not the best news and just the straight, blunt truth, and able to make you laugh at it and smile. I am driving right now to a 5K and potluck hosted and put on in memory of Alex by his family. And I wanted to chronicle and journal. I mean, if you've been listening to the show, then you've been walking with me, and I appreciate each and every person, each and every listen. We don't necessarily connect a lot. I don't put a lot of effort into the social media correspondence, but it is nice to see the numbers and to see that the show is growing. And I do this now with a little bit more purpose and clarity about my calling, my vocation, what I'm set on this planet to do, because in that last conversation with Alex, he told me, you have a story to tell. You clearly have a message to deliver. He's like, keep singing, keep writing songs, keep writing books, keep podcasting. And for someone to see into me like that, it's powerful stuff. And I did recognize it at the time. Like, obviously, I remember our discussion, because I was just so blown away about the relief I felt even ending the call. And when you have a relationship like that with someone who sees into you, into me, they see me, intimacy. And it doesn't have to be carnal. I'm reminded of Jonathan and David in the Bible, and how it says that their hearts were knit together. That's a spiritual affection. So we were deep friends, and to hear where he was at before he passed, and chopping it up with him, he was talking to one of our celebrity friends. He is famous now, but also in a celebrity relationship. But Alex broke it down and explained the same thing that you are feeling frustrated, disappointed, depressed about. This guy over here, another one of our friends from college, is dealing with the same thing. And so it really isn't about money, not about fame. It's about these intimate, close, personal connections that we have with people. And it's been a year, a tumultuous year, and I've done that to myself. I think learning and seeing the grieving process, how mourning takes so many different forms, and how I beat myself up with really a lot of still just shock and disappointment, but some survivor's guilt, because I've rolled the dice. A lot of us have. Most of my close friends were people that, we drink, go out, come up on some coke, and do some lines. And I'm still encountering just the casualness, I guess, how casual it is just to do coke. Now that I'm reaching out, um, dating, dating a bit more now, which is nice. Something I prayed about and, asked God to, you know, show me my love. Who loves me? Who am I in love with? But also realizing, to build this house of a relationship, if, as a metaphor, love being this safe place, this home, but not laying the foundation. Um, the deeper the foundation, the taller, the more prominent, the stronger the edifice, the fortress, the house, the love. And so since the foundation with Alex was deeper than I showed respect to, it's not a problem for me to take some time on a Saturday and go hang out with his family. And I'm honored to be invited and just included. And yeah, so, this last year has taught me how short and precious sweet life is. You would think, all the car accidents and just dramatic stuff I've gone through and, risky situations, I might realize it more. But lately, over the last couple of months, I've been definitely reaching out more, going on dates. I had my little stint in the hospital last month, and that was very interesting because I met two guys in the same night that I've been talking to for well over a month now. And when I was in the hospital due to COVID, you can only have one visitor, and it's called your care partner or something. So, usually it'd be like family, like grandma, my mom, but this guy was like, dude, I want to come see you in the hospital. And I'm like, you've never met me before. Like, what? And at the same time, this is the type of relationship, this is the type of support I've been seeking. And it's that person that is going to be there with you in the hospital, that's going to pick you up from the airport. That's home. It's like when you're excited to come home because you have that embrace from that particular person. And for the first time, I had a romantic interest. I don't know why I always kind of land dates. Like when I had a broken leg, I started dating a guy, and I'm like, I don't know how I pulled this off. But, I'm in the hospital, and I gave him my, real name. He gave me his real name, and he showed up and held my hand. And there was a passionate kiss. And it was something I was fearful of because I'm like, this guy is about to meet me in the hospital. And thankfully, you don't always have to wear a gown. So I was able to dress casually, but I did make sure I asked for a razor to shave, and it was so nice. It was so heartwarming. And it was like, this is what life is about. These connections. And, yeah, so he hung out with me in the hospital, and he's about, 8 years older than me. Very, very attractive to me. I think he's incredibly sexy. And this is new for me because usually I would, especially with pursuing men, often, I'll be honest, be in pursuit of being a top. But in this dynamic, I know in the long run for me emotionally, that more, some might say effeminate, docile, domestic, but bottoming or at least versatile, that's on the table. I think when it just comes to, friends with benefits, yeah, topping's cool, but there's a deep vulnerability to allowing someone giving them that trust. And for me, if you've read God Sent Dog, then you probably know why that's a big deal to me. But it was so funny because, I had to get an ultrasound on my heart, and that's when, he decided, okay, I'm going to leave you here. So we wrapped things up. So I get this ultrasound after he left, and the nurse leaves, and they bring me some food, and that lady leaves, and I cannot find my AirPods. I can't find my headphones. And I had put my backpack in the locker, the little closet space they have in the hospital room with my wallet and stuff. Because the thing about these dating apps too, you really got to be careful. They're having people that have gotten robbed and jumped. It's like that worst nightmare scenario where you think you're about to go hook up with someone random, and it's really a risk all the time. And I guess that's why I'm trying to pursue more of a serious relationship long term, because I'm ready to just be able to trust rather than roll the dice and gamble with not even just like STDs and STIs, but just safety in general. Like, you don't know, really. You don't know this person. All you're doing is talking to someone on a screen, and who knows what type of creature they are, what their real intentions are. So, yeah, that's the motivation, to be honest, part of it. But yeah, I couldn't find my headphones, and I was like, oh my God. Like, and I'm looking at Find My AirPods, Find My Phone app, and it's telling me that the headphones are like right outside the hospital. I'm like, what? And that was like an hour ago. It was like right around the time he left. And I was like, oh man, I gave this guy access to me, and he just robbed me. Like either a klepto, but the last time I saw those headphones, they were sitting on the table in between him and I, right next to his keys and his wallet. So I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, like my trust, like this guy, thank God I didn't have my wallet out. He didn't seem like he needed AirPods, but I texted him and I asked him straight up. I'm like, hey, did you take my AirPods? And lo and behold, he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I totally thought they were mine. I just naturally put them in my pocket. He's like, I already have 2 pairs. I don't need yours and don't want them. I will bring them back. So the next morning when I was in my hospital gown, this cute hunk of love comes in and brings back my AirPods, and it was sweet. It was funny. It was the funniest, ironic, sweetest little thing that can happen while in the hospital. But yeah, things are going well. And then I went on a date last week with the other guy that I met, and that was okay. He does not talk a lot, and I don't know if that's just a Pisces thing. I'm really not too big on zodiac signs, but I do think there's some merit to it. There's definitely energies, and I think it just helps to be aware maybe with the dynamic, because what I learned with him and talking with him, I make jokes all the time, but never poking fun at him, because I've learned that Pisces can be pretty sensitive and take that stuff to heart. And I'm sensitive. Like, I believe there's some truth behind every joke type thing. So yeah, I just it wasn't like pulling teeth, like had a good time, but really having to get the conversation going. And not that he wasn't interested, just that his dynamic was quiet. It's a little less, how do you say, extroverted, which is okay. We found him attractive. He's a bit older than what he described himself on the app as. And I don't know where that's going. So I was talking to my close bestie friend, and she was like, well, what happens if you just let all these guys go rather than, because nothing is really like, yeah, we've had this little hospital experience and I had the other date, but people are going to do what they want to do. And I've always, not always, but I learned that early on, probably about 20 years ago. People will do what they want to do. If they want to be with you, they'll be with you. But if you're not really making the effort and I'm the one that's texting or, starting the conversation and then kind of being left on red, then, there was a fear that if I don't play this game, then I'll miss out. But actually that frees up space for the right person that's going to give me the love, respect, the affection, and attention that I require. And I'm learning that affirmations are really big for me. I don't know why I'm sharing all this personal stuff, but whatever. Yeah, and I think that's why with the quiet guy, I'm like, I don't know how I can do this because I need you to affirm your interest in me, your love, and not for the entirety of our relationship if we're going to go long term, but especially in the beginning because, yes, this is new to me, like dating a man, like seriously dating, not just high school stuff, going to prom, stuff like that. And it's a rush, but I do know maybe my love language is affirmations, like speech and hearing. And I think that's also based on a lot of insecurity with myself. So I see it. I can see it now, but the only reason I can see it now is because I'm trying. I'm trying to change, trying to grow, trying to be a little bit better, a little bit more adventurous. And if I want something like a healthy, loving relationship with a partner, then I got to get out there, and that's what dating's all about. So there's no like big heartbreak, I haven't heard from these guys. Yeah, I'm a little frustrated, but it's just been a couple of days since I stopped really giving them that much attention. But, a little distance makes the heart grow fonder, kind of realize what you have, what you don't have it type thing. It is what it is. So, yeah, I am cruising towards this event. I'm running late. I'm just so grateful for friends that are more like family. My Auntie Graham hooked me up with some drinks for everybody and cake and pasta. And so I don't get to show up empty-handed because of that love, because somebody's got my back. And it's great. It's great to feel that. I really want to wrap up this next book. I just wrote about something that was pretty traumatic for me personally. And sometimes after writing stuff like that, as cathartic as it is, I do just kind of push away from the desk and I'm like, I need to let this go for a second because it's hard to keep reliving. And I think that's where I've struggled with the 12-step programs, of AA right now. It took, therapy for me to realize, I have been dwelling on all this stuff that I either feel bad about or felt guilty, felt shame. The stuff, that you work through when you're in a 12-step program. But to be sitting on that, and I've done the 12 steps, like all the way through twice. And some of them are ongoing for, depending on how you work them. But to be sitting on that for 4 years, looking at just kind of like how bad of a person I am when I was drinking, almost forgot that I'm a good guy. Like my therapist asked me to give myself some compliments. What are some good traits, qualities of mine? And I was so hung up on all this stuff from my past that I forgot how great I really am. And I don't want anybody else to do that. I mean, in the midst of it all, do what you got to do to clean up your act. But beating ourselves up, I mean, geez, like someone told me, put the bat down and stop beating yourself up. So it's not a weird place. I feel a lot more alive, and rather than doing this all or nothing, oh, I'm in AA, I'm sober, this is my life, I do these meetings every day, like, I'm not saying AA doesn't work. I think that the desire of the heart for me is to be sober, spiritually connected with my higher power. Of course, my mind, my body is a bit distracted, and now, losing people kind of over and over throughout the course of this last 31 years of my life, from, women and men that raised me to, my godmother, um, to the man that raised me, to Mioti, to my childhood dog, Theodore. Life is so short. I don't have to, get drunk and burn it all down to the ground. But I'll be honest, like right now, it's hard for me to do the all or nothing thing. It's really hard. And the more I hear what's being said in the rooms, it's like, there's a part of me that's like, dude, like this is a cult. And maybe it is a cult. Maybe it's not. I don't think that it is. They don't ask anything of me but sincerity and honesty and presence. So I think ultimately, like, it is so healthy. It's so healthy to be a part of. And then getting down to the work, I guess it's like taking the same class in college. Like if you have to withdraw, fail, you got to retake it in order to graduate over and over. But this is also contempt prior to investigation, because I have not gotten more than 5 months sober before. So I would like to get, a year and then reevaluate before I totally throw in the towel. But it just got redundant, got stale, as things will do. Yeah, there's a concept. I'm not going to introduce it right now because I'm really thinking about it for a book or some type of, piece of literature, because it's a beautiful metaphor about sobriety. In any case, I'm going to get back to driving. I just want to check in. This might be the whole episode. There might be more, but this is where I'm at, and I'm a little nervous. Alex's brother gave me the location of where he's buried, so I'm going to go see him, his site where him and his dog are buried after this. So might check back in, but not as nervous as I thought I'd be, to be honest. Just still a little heartbroken, I guess, a little disappointed that this is the way things, turned out. Very grateful, very, very grateful, and cherishing all the memories of him. The waterworks, came up a couple of days ago, and I'm sure there'll be some tears.
So I'll be honest, I did not think I was going to be able to hold it together approaching the venue, but they did say it was at a park, and I did not have cash, so I had to leave there and go get some money out the ATM. And when I came back and paid, while I'm rolling into the park, it was just probably like a mile, I would think, half a mile deep, different sections, baseball fields. I see the group leaving out, and they're wearing T-shirts with pictures of Alex's face. And so I know I'm in the right place. I know I'm late as well, and even once I park my car, I have to take out all the goodies that my Auntie Graham sent me with. Shout out to Auntie Graham Tracy. I love you. Because I would have shown up not empty-handed, but definitely not as well prepared. And she sent me with sodas and ice and as cake and pasta salad. And that's the beautiful thing about connection is that you really, like, if you ask, if you reach out, we're not that alone. Like, people genuinely want to help each other. And that is new for me. I don't know if that's from being an only child, maybe only child with a single parent, and it's just having to be super independent. So it's hard for me to ask for help. It's hard for me to say, look, I'm doing this and I might not be able to handle it all. And I think that's one of the best things about now, like working for myself, doing this podcast, is that it's just me. And I know that's unhealthy in a way, but I always like sports like that. Like, I loved wrestling in high school. I loved swimming, because it was me. And cumulative, yes, team sport. But when it comes to the actual action, me fulfilling a role, like when I played football, I was always either a tackle, very rarely center, but tackle. And that just means you're a big guy and you do the same thing over and over for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And that has just never been my steez. I think I like the creativity that comes with being an independent competitor. So with that, got there, and even though most of the participants had left, I obviously spotted Alex's sister with the baby that looks just like him, in my opinion, and his mom, and got to take that stuff out my trunk, this big cooler with ice and sodas, and hand that over, but also just meet them for the first time, because I had met his dad. His dad helped us out when we needed to live. Well, we didn't need. I mean, we wanted to live together in Calabasas, with 3 other of our friends. 2 of them are fraternity brothers. And so I always kind of had this guilt and shame kind of hanging over me because of how that Calabasas situation went down, because during that time my parents got divorced, and, you know, I wasn't good with money. I was not. And I had this Jeep I was paying for, which eventually got repossessed literally at the house while I was sleeping. They came and picked it up. And then I hit the road. You know, I said hello. You know, I met the family. Not the dad so much, not Mr. Miotti, but his sister and his mom. And I saw his older brother was running with the group. He was leading the pack, kind of. But he did not come in first. I know that because on my way out. So I started running. And these 2 girls are on their way back wearing these shirts that, you know, are like in memory of Alex. And then on the way, the route, they put up signs. And so I'm just running through the Santa Barbara, like, inland California agriculture. It is California. Like, that's really what California is. A lot of people think California is just the beach, and it's not. California is the climate, and there's something about the rain shadow and the mountains and being able to harvest and grow, and it's so fertile that I think that is why industry and the lure of just being in California, the sound of it, to say that California, we forget really the heart of it is the oranges that grow on the trees, the clementines. So I'm running past these groves, and I just have this incredible run. It didn't feel like a 5K at all. It felt like 1 mile. Every time my Nike Run app told me, okay, 10 minutes have passed, you've run this much. It didn't feel like that. And I was like, I didn't want it to end. And at the same time, I'm like, well, why are we here? And trying to think about him. But anyway, I get back. It's a great time. You know, I always, if you are standing in the corner or if you don't have anyone talking to you, I'm usually going to come up to you, especially at a place where it's a social gathering. And that's what I did, and I made a great friend, I think. And that was that. We chilled, we talked, passed the time, but it was in the meantime, Mr. Miotti, I just felt like he kept putting me on the spot, man. Like, I was like, dude, like, come on, man. This is about Alex. And I got a Miotti dollar, and that means that I won a competition, trivia, or the race. I did not win the race, so I'll tell you that. But there's $1 in my wallet that will stay there because it's a reminder, and I like that. That was cool. Yeah, it was a great, great time with people that we just all knew that we knew Alex. And when I left, I got the address before I actually got to the event, before I actually even made it out that way. I texted his older brother, Robbie, who dapped me up on the way in. He was running back in, and I was running out to do the 5K, it took, half an hour, 40 minutes, but I'm a slow runner. I mean, I'm a big boy. And we shook hands, but he had sent me, I asked him straight up, I was like, look, I need to know where he's buried because I think I want to go visit that space. And so after that, I went down this valley road, canyon road, to Carpinteria. I don't know how to say that name. It's super long, but that's where Alex is buried. And I got there, and I hadn't been to a cemetery in a long time. But I knew this is where he was, and so I found where he's laid to rest, and I sat next to it. Hey, I know I'm interrupting the show, but I gotta tell you guys, check out God Sent Dog on Kindle, as well as Chasing God Alcoholically. Those are my 2 books, and there's a 3rd one on the way. But if you want some short, good reads, check them out. erhunter.live. That's erhunter.live. You can check me out on Instagram. I'm at The Rhetorical Steak. The Rhetorical Sake, not The Rhetorical Steak. Some people think it's sake. It's not sake. It's the rhetorical sake, like for heaven's sake, for heaven's purpose, for rhetorical purpose. So if you get asked a rhetorical question, no answer is implied. And that, to me, is life. So that's what this show is all about. Anyway, that's the deal. That's where it's at. That's the only marketing you're going to get on this episode. I appreciate you all. I love you. Thank you so much for listening. All right, I'm about to dive back in, and we're going to get to me experiencing Alex at his gravesite.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right. Well, I am on my way to Ventura because apparently there's a bunch of weddings going on in Capertinaria. I think that's where I was. Just left Alex's grave. Really did not want to leave. And I didn't feel that way until I actually was like right there, angled on his grave, like literally where his body. Didn't feel right, sitting down, but I sat down next to it in the front part, and this has been hard. Like, that was hard, and it got hard, it got tough, it got difficult, it got emotional when I had to think about his family. I don't know. I don't know what I am. kind of reeling, and I guess I'm looking for outside stuff to fill this void of maybe grief or the God-sized hole inside me. But man, that was such an experience. Just so when I got there, rolled into this park, forgot that they only take cash. So I had to leave. It was late. When I came back, I see the group of people, his brother leading these people, older brother, leading these people out on a run, 5K. Honestly, to be honest, for me now, it's not big at all. Like, that's nothing. And didn't feel like it was challenging. And I'm grateful for that. I give I give credit to consistency, persistence. Wow, I'm staring at the Pacific Ocean on my right and a bunch of hills on my left, but gosh, it makes me realize why I miss California. This is beautiful. I'm recording this once again while I'm driving, and probably one of the better times. Turn down the AC. Yeah, so saw his sister from a distance, knew that, that's the spot because I recognized her just from our communication and the fact she's holding a baby. A nice, healthy, not big, healthy baby. I mean, and he's going to be strong. And you can just tell Alex is on him, around him. And the craziest part, I'm going to say this before I forget it, towards the end of that today, that stay there for a few hours, I wanted to take pictures with the family, and I saw his sister and his brother grabbing food. No one else was around the buffet, so I said, hey, like, can I get a selfie? And his brother was like, yo, like, yeah, but do you want someone else to take the picture? So his brother actually asked his fiance, who I've been seeing on Instagram as well. I'm so stoked for them. Congrats. Dude, and he has that same disposition that is just like undeterred optimism. Undeterred optimism. Everything is going to be okay. And when I was saying goodbye to him, I told him straight up, I was like, I did not want to come here because of the reason, but I'm glad I did, and I know I needed to, but good Lord. And he's like, yeah, it's a fun run. Smiling, laughing. I want to get to that point. I want to be that guy that no matter what, it's not even a forced smile. It was natural. Anyway, the baby, when we were posting for the picture, starts grabbing at me. And I was laughing at Natalie, and I think she knew what I was going to say. I'm like, this kid is going to give me a titty twister. Because I have a big chest. Everybody knows. I mean, when you meet me, but I'm not embarrassed about it too much now, but it just makes me wonder, like, what is going on with me? And looking more into it, I mean, it could be an estrogen, testosterone, progesterone thing, but weight loss is a big thing. So I really can't complain about it until I lose the weight. But this baby was grabbing at my chest every time he was in his mom's arms next to me. And so I'm like, can I hold him? And I was holding him. But the sun, the angle we were taking the picture, the sun was in the sky, facing us. So we were facing west, and it was just too bright for him. So he was not comfortable, which is okay. I just was so, you don't really go up to a new mom and be like, hey, can I hold your baby? But when the baby's like literally getting out of his mom's arms to be held by you, it was very humbling. It was very humbling. And spending time with Alex's dad and his mom. This has been a long day, you guys. It's been a long day. Not sad. I mean, got sad when I went to his grave, so I left there. Let me back up. So yeah, when I got there, most of the people that were gonna do the 5K had left because I passed them walking in. They were all running, and I see his sister and his mom at the site, and so I had to bring out, the sodas and the cake and the pasta salad that I was sent with. Kudos to Bo's mom. Love you. I don't usually like saying names in this podcast as I go by ER Hunter, but if you know me, you know who I am, so you'll be all right. Yeah, and so just delivered those and hit the pavement. Started slapping that pavement with the rubber soles of my feet. Beautiful. It was a great run, running through Ojai, California. Wow. And I will say, a lot what was on my mind, and I don't want this podcast to be political. I really don't. But Aubrey Marcus running in his white t-shirt. I was wearing black with a neon stripe on my shorts, but usually if I'm running on the street, I would wear a bright color because I don't want to give you an excuse to run me over. Like, oh, he was wearing dark colors. Couldn't see him. Natural tones. Every mile, every time it told me I was 10 minutes in, I was like, what? Like, this feels like nothing. And I needed to sweat. I needed to detox. I needed to just cleanse. And it was such a cleansing run. It was peaceful. I was by myself. Had one AirPod in, and gosh, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. His mom is so beautiful. Like, me and her stay in touch so much online, and then you meet somebody that you're really connected to online, and you see them in the flesh, and they're like, she's amazing. I'm enamored by her, and I'm gonna hold what we talked about personally confidential, but end all be all, I love that family, and I hate that this is how we met because of the. There's no way I'd be where I'm at if it weren't for their son. And I'm saying alive, and just not depressed. And maybe I am dealing with some depression, and that's some real stuff. I don't know how ongoing or when it resolves itself. I wish there were more, but I don't feel depressed. Maybe because I'm in California. Saying goodbye was hard to them. I didn't want to leave them. And it was so funny because that feeling replicated when I was at Alex's grave. So what I did, jumped to the coast since Ojai is inland, and I went to see his grave. And I know I needed it. And I'll be honest, I stopped by the liquor store and I bought a couple of shots, little miniatures. Oh, jeez, I just missed my exit. And I left one there for him, and I poured some out for him. But he was there. He was totally there. I totally felt him. Like, just this feeling of that no matter what, dude, everything's okay. Everything is going to be fine. You just keep going. And that's where we get caught up in our heads. We keep thinking that this is the end all be all. How am I going to go on? All this is crashing down. Fuck that. You keep going. It's okay. Just get up out the bed and you're going to be all right, buddy. You're going to be okay. And that's what I always got for him. And so I know he was there with me. And it was when I was taking a picture and I told him, I was like, this is not for Instagram. But people need to know, like, I'm in pain this is painful. And people also need to know cocaine is not cool anymore. It used to be cool. But when you have that stuff chopped up with fentanyl, you don't know what you're snorting up your nose. You literally just don't know. Like, yeah, you can test a piece of it. It doesn't mean the piece that you snort is pure coke or something like that. Like, it is just, it, I, I felt the unfairness. And I'm mad again, and I didn't want to leave. Did not want to leave. But you know what? This is just the first time of many time I'm visiting it. And who knows? I probably won't podcast about it too much more, but I know I needed to now. So I just want to thank his family. I thank him for the memories, for all the advice that he gives me and gave me. I want to be a good guy, and I am a good guy. It's hard. Everything that's gone on. Maybe now we're getting back to normal, but this says right turn only, and I think I'm just gonna break the law and make a left turn. Sorry, did that on the podcast. Okay. Anyway, this is my little tidbit post hanging out with the fam. I'm going to a hotel, which is way overpriced. And then tomorrow I will stay with my auntie. I'm so grateful for this venue. This is not where I'm supposed to be going. Alright, I need to get off this. Alright, love you guys. Dude, what? Jesus.
So what happened after that was that I did check into that hotel, and I didn't stay. I ended up going to a guy's house that I met online on a dating app, quote unquote. This guy rocked my world. He rocked my world. He was absolutely everything I missed about Malibu. He is a surfer. He is just at peace. He's fought through his own demons and PTSD, which is what I suffer from, and he didn't take advantage of me when I was drunk. And for the next day and a half, I spent it with him. And during that day and a half, I learned a lot about myself. I learned what I've been missing. How being away from the ocean, the water, pains me. I'm trying to pick and select, but of what I want to tell and share, without sharing too much. And I know for me, like, divulging on this show is the benefactor, but I also have to keep myself safe. Jack. His name is Jack. And Jack reminded me of the man that I was 10 years ago. He reminded me of the college student. Not necessarily. I never really considered myself a student because I've always had to be ahead of the curve. But, and I know that sounds cocky as ever, but it is true. I never really understood academia. It's like if you comply, you succeed. And I didn't get that until it was over. I didn't get that because I was always trying to challenge the system. So with Jack, all the surfboards around, the surf wax, his dogs, the Santa Barbara air, I felt so safe, and he saved my life pretty much because I had been drinking. I'd been drinking because I was traveling. I'm going to admit that. I didn't drink with him at all. And it was a stark realization that this is life. Like, this is real. And we had very passionate moments. There's so much going through my mind right now. I'm trying to, because like I said, I didn't produce this episode. Literally, this is one of the realest ones. I didn't eat that much, but I was praying and thanking God while I was in between his sheets. He gave me his bed, and to be in between the sheets of a man that is so into you and calls you beautiful, and reminded me, he was like, your skin is so smooth, and he just reminded me that I am this beautiful, beautiful creature. I didn't know I needed that. Sometimes we don't know what we need. I'm gonna vape. Sometimes we don't know what we need. But I needed Jack more than I ever thought I don't need anybody. I thought I needed Alex. I thought I needed him. He died. He's gone. And so I've been cold, stone cold, for the last year and a half. And now this man cracked me open. I was like, no, you can stay here. You can chill. Just chill and ride the wave. And he would come into the room and he'd say, aloha. Aloha, brother. And that's what it was. That's what it is. That's who I am. I love getting out on the water. And like the one thing about this trip that irks me is that I did not paddle out. Well, that's not the only thing, but it is something. So, yeah, Jack saved my life, in my opinion. And I'm not sharing all the details. You'll have to sit down with me in person to hear all that. And I hope that you do, if you're listening to this. But I know that I needed him. I know that it was God. I know that something transpired while I was in that area up north. Santa Barbara, Carpinteria, Montecito is where Jack lives. And he saved me. Because I was drinking out of loneliness. And literally, he took away that immediately, and I did not need anything else. Now, thank God I wasn't at a point where, oh my gosh, like I need alcohol to function. And that's what he liked about me, is that he was like, you don't fight me on this. You're here, and I can tell that you want this too. And I'm like, yeah, and oh my gosh, beautiful hands. Just an amazing person. And it hurt leaving. And so, for me, I connect dots to what I was raised on. And yes, I was raised in a religious environment. but recently what got brought up was earthing and taking your shoes off. And, you know, with Jack, he was like, no socks. No socks are to be worn in my bed. So he took off my socks. And, you know, socks regulate your body's system, actually. So even if it feels hot, if you wear socks, your body will actually acclimate. They've done studies on mice. I can find them and put them in the show notes. But like I said, speaking from the heart today. Yeah, he took off my socks, and that is kind of what I regret about not doing at Alex's gravesite, was being barefoot. And because earthing is a human, we have our bare feet, and if we stand on raw ground, general earth, there are ions, there's a magnetic field, and there's actually a transfer of ions that we absorb after about 20-30 minutes. We transfer these ions into our feet. So yes, I'm going to get religious, and it doesn't have to be religious. It could be colloquial, it could be just an adage, but this burning bush scene with Moses and the burning bush, and he's talking to it, and it says, God says, take off your sandals, this is holy ground. Now for me, there's no way to deny that God understands I made these humans out of clay. I drew you from this earth. So when you stand barefoot on it, I've actually endowed you with an ability to transfer your magnetic field and become one with this synergy. Become one with this earth, with this planet, with this soil. And so when he tells Moses to take off his sandals, I'm like, okay, holy ground, I get that. But then I'm thinking about earthing as well. Game changer. Game changer. Now we're talking about uploads. A lot of people say they get stuff from God and it's a download. I'm talking about an upload. So when I was at Alex's grave and I could feel his energy, I could feel him, that was an upload. That's what I needed. Maybe my heart needed it, my soul, but something, I made it there. From wherever I was at in the world, and within a year, after a year. It took a year. It took a year. And that I beat myself up for, because I wasn't able to be at the ceremony. I wasn't able to be there right when he died. Talk to him the day that he died. But it's not just about Alex. This is about this connection. And this is what I'm realizing, and I hope other people realize, is that we can have this with people. We can have this with this life. We have so much more ability and power than what we let on. This is not just about getting a lot of likes on Instagram. This is about real stuff. And the real stuff is this. I'm going to change the subject. It is... Now I'm going to address this AA dilemma I'm in, because I'm not doing 12 steps right now. Because like I mentioned, if I focus on everything I did bad, everything I did wrong for the last part of my life, which is all that I know, I tend to forget that I am a good person. I'm a good man. And I don't want anyone else to suffer through that. I mean, look, whatever it takes to stop drinking, and that's what Jack taught me, was that it was human connection. Yeah, I was running around and drinking, but it stops when I allow myself to be vulnerable with someone else, someone that can read me, see me, feel me, be with me. And that's what I thought that I lost. I thought I would never get Alex back, but at the end of the day, and I've been thinking about this today, is that some people, they they worry about the rapture, I guess, when Jesus comes back and getting taken up to heaven. Like my aunts have this story about when like a sunroof in their car opened up automatically without warning, and one of them thought it was Christ coming back. And then I was talking to my housemate, and he thought, he was experiencing. But for me, because I've had a vision, I had a vision Halloween 2001, right after 9/11. It was 2001, 2002, where I got taken up in the sky. I saw 3 crosses floating in the sky, and then I blinked, and I was flying through the clouds. My eyes were closed, but I knew what was happening. I was getting taken up, and it just felt like pieces of me were breaking off. It felt like this clay mold of who I thought I was breaking off, and I heard chains rattling, dropping. So it was clay dropping off of me, but chains clinking as they fell, and this new essence, this being, this everything that I already was, not even knew who I was shining through, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm going to have more podcasts, and I got to get it out there, this type of, not, I want to say prophetic, but just this transcendent, these moments. Because I've been having dreams, and this stuff has been happening. Like, I've been having dreams before stuff happens. There's something on me. There's something happening in the world. There's a shift. It's beautiful. It's scary at the same time. And like I've probably mentioned before, I thought that I was crazy. I really did. I thought that when I took tests, they were going to tell me, okay, you have this mental condition. Only thing they're telling me, PTSD, anxiety, depression. That's what I struggle with. And I have lived through people, whoever, trying to break me through that. And so I know those aren't going to break me. What will break me is a lack of faith, is a lack of hope. And that's the purpose today, is that there is hope. And I don't know why people are so scared. I mean, if you believe in Christ or you have some religious background, even when, and I know Jesus is coming back, I don't know if it will be in our lifetime. So I will say when and if Jesus comes back and there's this rapture where we are caught up in the sky, you don't have to be scared. That was the only thing when I came back. I was like, please don't ever do that again, because it wasn't that I didn't like it. It was the coming back that I didn't like. It was the landing that, oh my gosh, I'm back and there's this whole other world. Yeah, we got a lot more stuff to talk about. I think this is it for this episode. I think I needed to get this off my chest. I think we're good. I don't know if I'm going to call this Holy Ground. I don't know if I'm going to call this Above, Pray, Love. I don't know. What I do know is that I'm grateful for each and one of you listeners. I'm grateful for the people that support me, the people that impart to me, like Mr. Miotti. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thanks, dude. What we have right here, it is a situation, and it can be tough. But I really think if we hang in there, if we strive, and we realize that it's we, not I, we're going to get through it. Keep searching out. Keep looking. Keep venturing. Try new things. And honestly, I went for broke this time. I don't recommend that for everybody, but I had to do it. I'm nervous. There's a financial thing, running around doing all this, living hotel to hotel. But you know what? I got a smile on my face tonight because I live life. I have lived life. And we get to keep doing it. So take advantage. Because this is just a moment. Take your shoes off. Absorb that energy from the ground. It'll treat you right. All right. I'm out of here. Ciao.
Well, Daddy, I've been trying, I just can't catch a break. There's too much in this world that I can't seem to shake. I remember your words, Lord, they bring me the chills. Keep your nose on the grindstone and out of the pills. Welcome to Earth.
That's true friendship right there. When you are feeling like loneliness is just absolutely insufferable, they walk in, they grab you by the chin, they lift your head up, they lock eyes and they say, not today. We're not gonna have it. You got this. Sometimes you gotta grow up quick. You don't have a certain parent in your life. You gotta grow up quick. You don't have no siblings. You gotta grow up quick. And sometimes you get burnt out when you have to keep growing up quick. But it's that burnout, it's that exhaustion that brings on recovery. So don't despise the hard times. Don't despise the pain. Embrace it. It's here to grow you.